Hello and welcome back to the Weekend Spread, presented by the Pigskin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me today, we got Jameson, we got Ty, and we got Bowden Blake here to talk about yet another slate of picks. Boys, we're getting down the stretch. Only a couple weeks left, and it is a bottleneck at the bottom. Me, Ty, and Blake are all tied at 48 and 53, and Jameson is just inches ahead at 50 and 51. So narrowly close to 500. Guys, how do we feel about our week? Jameson, I'll let you start as the incumbent leader.
I don't feel good about it, and I'll tell you why. Because I was very strategic in picking a Friday game for my wild card pick last week, saying, I'm only one game back. I mean, I'm a half game back, I guess, at 500. If I just get one dub, I'm at 500 and it'll feel good. And if anyone saw the atrocity that happened in Boise State, Wyoming, my God, I don't know if I can hate Wyoming anymore. I really can't. We were fading Wyoming ever since like a couple of weeks ago, and I've been loving it. And last second 75-yard touchdown and slop, like, can I even go after Wyoming again? Is it taboo now? Is it like, what do I do?
It's the
I told you.
Slop.
You're gonna mess with them too much and they're gonna kick you in the jaw, and that's what happened. They said just stay away from that dirty team, and you kept going back to the well.
Good. I watched pretty much the majority of the game. That offense was miserable. Wyoming's offense is weird. So bad.
But they're good bad. They're not bad. That's the problem.
And that's how college football is, though, is even a garbage team like Wyoming can be sneaky and weird and pull something like that out, which is incredible. Because Boise, the fact that Boise scrapped all the way to that cover and then have it ripped from them, talk about just pulling, defeat from the jaws of victory. Incredible stuff. Ty, how are you feeling?
Good. Obviously, I'd like to point out two things. First, I have done no actual calculation for this, but I don't think anyone would argue that this is true. I've done the most movement on the scoreboard of anyone this season. I've been in last, I've been in first, I've been in second a lot. I've just been all over because that's how it is when you're shooting from the hip. Second, I'd like to point out, not trying to be like a sore loser or anything. I just think it's funny. I'd like to point out my abysmal wild card performance this season as we have the wild card up there. I would be winning right now if we didn't pick wild cards, actually, because I've only hit maybe 3, I think 2 all season, one being my pot of greed. So
publicly give an apology for what you did last week.
That was ungentlemanly, I will say. I made an attempt to derail an addict for my own personal gain. Actually, there's no gain to winning this.
You picked Texas State Boco as a favorite in a game this season, which they lost pretty comfortably.
I went on a little monologue. I pointed out, it was very low risk because of what's one loss. High reward because, like I said, I would have gotten an addict back on the train of just losing with Texas State, but I should have known better. I do want to point out for the viewers that our trophy that I made last year. I don't know if anyone remembers, but I will pass it on to the next winner. The regular season trophy used to be worth about, I think, 1 cent maybe as these old glow sticks. But I've added 2 old parking passes to it, which raises its in theory value to, I think, over $500. So we have a nice expensive trophy now.
Incredible. And I got to say, if you want to talk about how up and down Ty has been, let me read off some stats. This 4-week stretch just sums Ty up. In week 6, he went 6-2. Next week, 3-5. Next week, 5-3, good job. And then the next week he went 3-6. So just a very up and down for Ty. He's riding the roller coaster. So Blake, the Tathan bet finally landed. I'm thrilled. I'm pumped. It hit for me too. Our over-unders are doing good this season.
Yep, I was looking at it, really the only big one I'm going to miss is Michigan. I thought they were going to go under, but saying Jim Harbaugh's a fraud, I will die on that hill till the day I die. But I got some good news with UNLV and finally got that win. Some bad news. Nevada is probably my future there is not going to hit. They are not going to make it to the Mountain West Championship. Fraud ass San Diego State's going to be there. Brady Hoke in the dumbest team. Just don't even get me started on how they're ranked so high. But it is a good week for the Shield because as this week's rankings came out, we now have 3 ranked teams coming to the Shield. Well, we only have 1 ranked team leaving, so I'm thinking this is a pretty good deal. We had 1 that lost to Kansas, 1 that lost to Baylor, and we're gaining 3 ranked teams, so I feel like this is a nice trade. The Shield, buy the Shield stock now because it can never be higher.
Look,
the
y'all
SEC
are losing.
teams lost to the bottom 2 teams according to Ty's preseason poll in the Big 12.
Yep.
That's
My
man.
preseason poll had Kansas 2 wins. Everyone doubted me. There were doubters.
I mean, look, I gotta say, I don't know why y'all want Texas to leave. You're gonna lose so much Schadenfreude. It's gonna be incredible. And over in the SEC, we'll be able to beat up on them. They'll be Orange Vandy, and I can't wait for it. It's gonna be great. So, anyways, enough preamble. Let's get into the picks. Starting out with a Pac-12 matchup, the number 3 ranked Oregon Ducks traveling to Utah, who are 3-point favorites. So these lines provided by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code TPPN to sign up for sure if you're in that state. So, Jameson, as the leader, you've
Wrong. I'm going last.
You're going last? As the leader, you've elected to go last. So, Jameson's going last. I'll kick us off here. Look, Oregon has been waiting to trip up all season long.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh, my God. Okay.
This happened last night at 3 a.m. Like, this thing has been hair trigger. It happened twice today. It happened once at 3 a.m. last night, and now
No. Blake called in
So
a
what
bomb
just happened?
threat. Blake called in a bomb threat on his own apartment because he doesn't want to pick the TCU.
He heard Bobby about to pick Utah, and he's like, "Oh no!"
Is that the bad take alarm? Like,
I wish.
Are you gonna evacuate, Blake, or? Are you
It's a false alarm. They've had 3 in the past 24 hours. I'm not leaving. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
Just keep it
going
on
to
mute, and we will just let go through it whenever you got. Rosie is the alarm for Bobby.
Rosie's alarmed. Okay, we're just gonna time out. I'm gonna let her out.
Production value of this podcast.
Keep it live. Keep it live.
Keep it live. Keep it rolling. Keep it live. Blake has now left.
Oh man, they just left us. They just left me and Ty.
There could be an actual fire.
And if you don't like that, you don't like Schooner Pod.
This was
thought
only a
Bobby
few
was gonna be
seconds. It
Ty.
needs to stay in.
That's incredible.
Blake is left with a concerned look on his face. There may actually be a fire.
No, dude, living in an apartment, like stuff like that, I feel like happens way too much. At least once a year, I hear people talk about that.
That exact alarm was what my alarm was at my old apartment. So it triggered back some bad memories of like 3 a.m. Ugh, it was the worst.
He has returned.
Okay, Blake's back.
Just It'll probably go off in like 5 minutes. I'll just hop back on, rattle off my picks auctioneer style wherever we are. I'll just keep track because this
Live
might
from
take
the
a second.
Titanic.
Just put him in the chat. You can stay muted and just put him in the chat as we go.
Yes, we're good. We're good. We're back. Is it my turn?
This is
No,
great.
I haven't given my take yet.
Okay.
Okay, so back to it. Number 3 Oregon at number 23 Utah. The Utes, 3-point favorites. And look, Oregon, I feel like has just been ready to fall apart this entire season. They've had close misses back to like just all the time. Even in the wins that they look like relatively decisive, they still look sloppy. Last week was just another example, struggling with a Washington State team that has a new coach because they fired him like halfway through the season at home. And, I think the Ducks are getting ready to get knocked out here by a Utah team that has been on the rise the past couple weeks, ever since switching up their quarterback. And look, they're gonna have to beat them twice. And I kind of think they're wobbly here. I think this is when they go down. Salt Lake City can be a pretty relatively raucous atmosphere. So give me Utah to win. Just win straight up, get the cover, all of it. I think the Utes have a big night here, and another college football playoff contender goes down. So give me Utah. Blake?
I'm riding with you, Bobby. This has been a completely different team since Cam Rising took over the reins. Charlie Brewer, wow. Like, I thought he'd be a good quarterback for them, like what he was at Baylor, but wow, was that a failed experiment. But now we're coming back into it. They have one loss with him as the starter, and I will give any Pac team one loss in that crazy conference because everybody somehow beats everybody. But I just think Oregon is just, they don't blow teams away. They let teams stay there, even when they're handily, like last week versus Washington State, they were handily beating them, but they're allowing them to stay within 14 points consistently. They just don't have that killer instinct. And so I think at some point, Utah's going to win. If it's not this time, it's going to be next time. I'm going to take him here, but I found an interesting stat today and just kind of exposing some of the bias and just horrible mathematics that the playoff presents. So they use ESPN's FPI metrics in order to help decide which teams are stronger, which teams aren't. If Utah loses this game, they have a 65% chance of making the Rose Bowl. But if they win this game, they have a 35% chance. And so I don't understand the math on that. It makes no sense. The FPI is a botched metric. I'm not a math guy, but that seems botched right there. How can you lose a game and more likely make the Rose Bowl? I don't want any of that ESPN, that SEC, that collusion crap. Give me Utah. I want to see them in the Rose Bowl this year, and I have a future on them. So
I think it has to do with Oregon, the potential of Oregon making the playoff. If they lose, I guess it bolsters Oregon's playoff chances. But if they win, then Oregon, it basically becomes a one-game playoff for the Rose Bowl.
Of course, Bobby defending ESPN and SEC's metrics, just to kind of.
Oh yeah,
what's new?
The SEC has been secretly funding the Schooner Pod this entire time, as you can tell by our stellar production value. Anyways, Ty, who do you got?
Yeah, I kind of concur with. Well, I don't know. This whole FPI and math debate between Bobby and Blake. I do understand that no one that works where Blake works understands anything about math. Everyone that lived through 2008 knows that. But I will say I do like the FPI. I like Utah here personally. Oregon. Everybody knows I like Oregon. I get a soft spot for Oregon. But I don't understand it's all based on Ohio State. It's based on that one win that was way early in the season. And that's the only reason. Had Oregon lost that game and then also lost to Stanford, I could see them being ranked 20th right now. It's not, I just don't this whole super, super hype about the Ohio State win does not make sense to me. Oregon, like Blake said, has been pretty flawed. And we've seen a lot of mistakes. Oregon to me is a lot like OU this season, with the difference being they've got a lot of respect from the rankings. So I can really see this being one of their tougher challenges coming up besides the win over Ohio State. And I like Utah here, especially at Utah. So give me Utah -3. This is why Bobby, Blake, and I are at a 3-way tie for the bottom, I guess.
Jameson's going to be a little island boy here, probably.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm going to pick Oregon. And here's why. And this is not just because I'm trying to be on an island. Utah, yes, they have been impressive. But the problem is with them is I don't know if I believe in their defense wholeheartedly, to think that they're up and up and can be a competitive team. They're very talented on offense. We talk about their offense and their passing attack and the change to the quarterback and all of that. But I got burned on them, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever they played Oregon State, and they could not stop Oregon State for the life of them. It was a miserable watch. Utah came out strong and then completely didn't have the whole game. And after that, last week only beating Arizona by 9 points is also concerning to me. Arizona is a team that's absolutely embarrassing in the
It's a
Pac-12.
look ahead. It's a look ahead spot.
Okay,
This is like their championship this year. Like,
yeah, okay, I can agree to that, and you see that with Baylor. They had a look ahead jump, but I'm going to take Oregon here. I understand there's a lot of hype around Utah, but I'm just going to stick with Oregon.
Okay, there you go. Jameson's an island boy. So incredible. All right, next up, the marquee matchup of the week: the number 7 Michigan State Spartans traveling to the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State. A hefty 19-point line for the Buckeyes. Jameson, are you maybe dissuaded by this big number? Do you think the Spartans can get a cover here?
This is tough for me. This is probably the toughest line for me of this whole week because also similarly to what I was talking about with Utah, Michigan State's defense did not impress me at all versus Purdue either. It was another time where just like Purdue, I felt like was getting what they wanted versus that defense. And when you don't hear that often, usually Michigan State has a pretty scrappy defense. Ohio State's offense is a juggernaut. And that is probably the most powerful offense in college football right now. And I don't think that's a probably. I think that it is. I'll just go out and flat out say it. I think Ohio State's going to get what they want, and Michigan State isn't powerful enough of an offense to keep up with them. So I'm going to take Ohio State on the 19.
Okay, Ty?
Yeah, this one, like Jameson said, this one is rough. I think this is the roughest one that we have all week, including possibly the next one. We got another pretty rough one coming up, but I think Ohio State is going to absolutely work Michigan State in this game. But 19 does seem like a lot. There was a time not too long ago that many people on this pod were hyping up certain players on Michigan State's offense as Heisman frontrunners, which is ridiculous.
he's like second
That's
or
not
third in
ridiculous.
odds. Like
Come
second
on.
in odds.
That is
like,
ridiculous. That is a Big Ten offensive player that doesn't go to Ohio
okay,
State.
we are coming from the same
the Heisman.
podcast that was like, like Lincoln Riley getting Caleb Williams to New York. That's going to be such a great accomplishment. Oh my gosh, like Caleb Williams is definitely there. Caleb Williams is getting benched right now.
What is more, an Oklahoma quarterback winning the Heisman? That's happened like literally almost, 10% of the time for the past 20 years? Or a Big Ten offensive player that doesn't go to Ohio State winning the Heisman.
Can't win the Heisman if he's right in the pine, though.
Okay.
Which is what he did for half that Baylor game.
But anyways, so
It was 2 drives.
That's bad.
Caleb Williams was bad. Yeah,
Well, I'm not saying he is bad. He's not going to New York
Heisman.
anymore.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he will eventually. But shooting from the hip here, I really like Ohio State to win big. But 19 just seems like a lot. I'm going to get burned on this one.
Shoot it.
Give me Michigan State just barely, but I like Ohio State big.
Like,
Yeah, I'm going to ride with Jameson here. I just think what we saw Purdue, Michigan State-wise, Michigan State can just get burned from the deep bomb, deep pass. Like, that's what Ohio State has been feasting on. And it's super sad because it's like I really want Michigan State to do well. But, like, the one thing Ohio State's really, really vulnerable for is their defense. And their run defense is but their pass defense is horrible. So you got to be able to throw it over the top of them. That's why Purdue was able to come in and kind of at least score some points on Ohio State. Like, it was obviously a blowout because Purdue's defense couldn't stop anything, but Michigan State can't throw it downfield at all. Like, we saw that in Michigan. They had two interceptions on like their first 2 or 3 drives. Like, it was bad. And like, that's the way you have to beat Ohio State, and that's more suited for a Alabama. Not maybe Florida's defense is good enough, but you need those like really high over the top passing teams, which Michigan State's not. So I just don't see any edge. So I got to ride with Ohio State.
yeah, I get that Ohio State had a very good performance against Purdue, but I don't know. I still think they're just too hot and cold for me to give them a 19-point spread against Michigan State. You know, for all of the Spartans' issues that they've had, I don't know. 19 is just too many points to give up for me. I wouldn't pick this game. I wouldn't bet this game if I didn't have to. because that 19 is just a dirty, tricky number. I could very much see Ohio State, winning this by, a last second, 20 touchdown, push it to 21, but also I don't know.
What about a Michigan State sad field goal to get a backdoor cover?
That's true.
A last second 21-point lead.
In this situation, I go with sad field goal. Give me Sparty. Shout out my guy Roy. So I'm going Sparty for Roy. So
I don't think anyone has a bad take here. A 19-point line in a top 10 game is absurd.
Yeah,
it really is. It really is.
Yeah, but I think that speaks to Ohio State though, is how insanely explosive they are. But it's hard to bet on explosiveness because it's kind of random at times.
There's so much brand here too. Yeah, who knows?
So much brand. Big Ten Network would be very happy to be hyping this one up all week. All right, moving on to the Big 12. Here's a game that Blake did not want to talk about. Kansas at TCU. The Frogs favored by 22.5. The Jayhawks riding high after a massive win against Texas on the road. First road win since 2008, back when Mark Mangino and Todd Reesing were patrolling the sidelines together. So incredible for the Jayhawks. They got their 2 wins. The Kansas over half win is dead. So very, very dead. Anyways, I'm going to go with, honestly, with TCU struggling, they lost their star child out, Chandler Morris will be out for this. Probably not going to have Zach Evans as well. So they're down to 0 scholarship running backs. I really don't get why TCU's getting 22.5 points, especially because that's a program that has kind of struggled with Kansas in the past, I feel like. Over the past, let's say 6-7 years, they've given up a couple scares, even straight up lost to the Jayhawks one year. So I know they took Gary out of the situation, but let's be real. This is a program that still for some reason struggles with Kansas. 22 is way too much, and I don't know. The Jayhawks might be looking for blood here, depending on who they go with at quarterback. I know that guy who led them to that big Texas win. He is dealing with he might have to burn his red shirt, so that's a question.
He officially did. He did burn it.
He did burn it. Okay, so he did burn it. Okay, well in that case, I feel even better. Give me the Jayhawks plus 22.5.
Yep, I'm just going to flip opposite and just hope that Jerry Kill's doing a classic Gary Patterson maneuver where you say, the entire team is out with injuries, and then you have, at least a few that come back. I think last week is just OSU's a lot better team. They're really good defensively and, an offense that just is kind of inconsistent at times. That's horrible. So we weren't able to get anything going. And then our defense is on brand. But this Kansas team is really bad. They still are bad. They had their one flash in the pan. We saw it a little bit against OU when they came out, kind of gave them that scare. They got it completely demolished the next weekend. They only kind of have these spurts. They are probably riding high this week. I saw the fullback that won the game for them was filming Applebee's commercials today that are going to run in Kansas. So they're taking NIL deals. They are distracted by all that jazz when it comes to beating Texas. But give me TCU. They're distracted.
The NIL has ruined the Kansas fullback.
They literally don't know how to win. They don't know how to win because they don't win. So it's they don't know how to handle. This is their Super Bowl. This is what's going to keep them going for the next 5 years. So
that's fair. They get up for big teams like OU and Texas. I don't know if they would get up for the TCUs of the world. Half empty, Amon G. Carter Stadium with a bunch of sad, soggy frat boys out there.
If even that, I just think nobody's going to this game. I'm going to be in Fort Worth that weekend, and I'm not even going to this game. So
fair enough. Ty, who do you got?
Yeah, so first I got a bone to pick. Really, it's proportionally a little weird, but I did a quick hand rendering of TCU's mascot, which I don't know why I did this.
Actually pretty good.
It's actually good.
I go to art school, so all the viewers, anyone that could see my Post-it note 30-second drawing can also see the whatever. But what is this? what is that? It's like this frog has some like the frog's got a rack. I'm just gonna say it.
It's a six-pack.
Those are some big ass. What is that on the chest right there? That's some big.
It's horns.
No, not on the head. The horns are on the head.
Well, it has horns all over the place.
On the chest, those are some titties.
Those are not. Those are not.
At most, at worst, it's a six-pack. But Bobby's right; it's horns. Like,
anyways, I was gonna say, yeah, I'm disappointed, Bobby, in our graphic design that we didn't do the chain smoking Jayhawk. But yeah, this game, I do not understand why TCU has 22.5. At the same time, this is Kansas we're talking about. Kansas hit the over 2 wins. Nobody said it could happen. I did. Many people are saying I might be the smartest person ever commentating on football. Many people are saying that, not me, but many people. They hit it. I don't like 22.5 for TCU, but at the same time, it's like that's a nipple right there.
That's not a nipple. There's no nipple in there. It has a
there's
6-pack.
literally nothing, Ty.
It does have a 6-pack, which is weird.
Right
and
at the tip of the pencil. What is that? Okay,
that's not a nipple.
So here we go. Jameson knows a bit of anatomy. If that's a 6-pack, what is this little nub at the base?
Maybe
of
his
the
foot
six-pack?
on the back side of there.
Enhance.
That's a good call. That's a very good call, Blake. I like that. I was looking at the chest of the frog. I'm not seeing 6 packs.
That's a 4-pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a bulge. But what is this?
Hold on.
That is
I think it's the back foot. I agree.
No.
No.
He's got,
hold on. Enhance.
No.
That's questionable. That's a questionable nub right there. This is great.
They're reptiles. They don't produce milk.
We're not talking about a nipple. We're talking. I kind of think that's something.
The nipples would be.
It's questionable.
Here. You can't.
Well, here's the deal, Blake. You're assuming that this drawing was made accurately to that of a horned frog and is perfect reptile. I think that we know that artists can be a little weird sometimes.
It has a massive jaw. What are you saying, Blake? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's just a little beefier than a normal horned frog. They're usually flatter and longer.
True. It's a beefy frog.
Chain smoking frog.
Look at that beefy boy.
It's the perspective, right? He's got this length, but then you turn him. You know.
Why is its left arm is way bigger than its right arm?
It must be left-handed.
It's perspective, Bobby. It's perspective.
No.
Also,
why does it have a 6-pack or like a little? Why does it have abs?
The arm, if the
like
arm
chest.
in the background is noticeably larger than the arm in the foreground, then the arm in the background is being represented as larger.
Okay.
You wonder why I didn't want to choose this game. It's because we're not even talking about football.
Yeah, no. It's your turn, Blake, so you might as well jump in.
He already picked.
I already picked. I literally already picked. I literally
You went on a rant about
I had this nice, juicy, tasty parlay tonight, and Abilene Christian just like put a dagger in my heart and banked in a nice 3 to send it to overtime. This happened last night. Pepperdine had a nice, tasty parlay, got ruined because of Utah Valley banking in shots.
We gotta move past this game.
We gotta move back. We've talked way too much about the horned frog.
What are you picking? What are you picking, Ty? Are we about to move? I haven't even heard Ty's pick nor mine.
I'm not gonna lie. Jameson noticed I was trying to get through it without actually ever picking.
I need to pick it. I like this spread. I want to pick it.
All right, go for it now.
Give me Kansas here. I hate it. I know I'm gonna get burned. I didn't want to. I literally tried to go through without committing to anything. I tried to start a storyline and get everyone distracted. But yeah, give me Kansas.
Okay, Jameson, you're up.
Yeah, so I really like this because I believe Blake, were you the one who sent us the injury report or the whatever where Chandler Morris is hurt, and they're talking about that in the press conference.
Yeah.
Well, they also said in that press conference that Chandler Morris is probably going to play. So if you're already at this point where he has an injury, but it's Tuesday before the Saturday in college football, and they say he's probably going to play, that's really downplaying that injury. And I mean, I'm not buying too much into it because that usually if it was kind of serious, they take it to the game time decision because it just makes sense strategically to do that. And plus, Kansas, if you look at their depth chart for this weekend, Jason Bean is listed as the starter for this game. Give me TCU. Hammer it.
Okay.
You're flipping on the Bean Man.
You're flipping on
The Bean Man.
Wow.
The Bean Man has been struggling the whole year, and then they send in Jalen Daniels, and this man had an absolute game last week. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and ran all over Texas.
You stab Boko in the back. You stab the Bean Man in the back. Who aren't you going to just throw under the bus, Jameson?
Wait, can I just
Wyoming.
say, I love the logic that you can't trust an injury report or a roster for an injured player because it might be trickery, and then immediately picking TCU because the Bean Man is listed as the starter.
Incredible.
Just
All right,
amazing.
moving on to another
Like when
crap.
Bobby didn't trust a guy named Joey.
Okay, we'll move past that. Moving on to another craptastic game in the Big 12. The mighty Texas Longhorns travel to West Virginia to take on the Mountaineers. West Virginia favored by 2.5 here. The Horns, honestly, as low as they've been maybe ever. First 5-game losing streak since 1956. That was back in the Bud Wilkinson era, folks. Jameson, I'll let you start. You and Ty, big Texas pickers for the past couple seasons. What do you say to this? What is wrong with your Horns?
Blah. I don't like any of this. I don't like West Virginia. I don't like Texas right now anymore. Yes, I was big on Texas in the preseason, but obviously the culture there is just complete trash. Ever since the whole all gas and run out of gas symptoms happened with the third and fourth quarter collapses, it's just completely taken the life out of that team. And then Bijan Robinson being out for the season with the dislocated elbow, like how much left does this Texas team have in the tank to actually go out and try to win this game? But the problem is West Virginia has looked like absolute doo-doo as well. Like, how am I going to pick West Virginia here? I want to pick West Virginia so bad. So bad, but I just can't because I just don't see it from them. I think Texas might screw around and actually get bowl eligible and pull off an upset this week, and then maybe go to Manhattan with some kind of if they get one more win, they're bowl eligible. I can see that, so I'm going Texas.
Okay, Ty, who do you got?
Give me Texas. All right, I understand. Abysmal performance. It seems like they played at Kansas, right? Or did they play?
No,
Austin. It was at home.
Austin. Okay, yeah. So what happened maybe was Sark just one day discovered that he could drive like a few hours to go riverboat gamble in Louisiana or to Riverwind, or not Riverwind, Windstar. No free sponsorships, but
that'd be a long ass drive.
It would be, but he makes enough money. So maybe he had a helicopter.
Just like Logan Roy did, and just helicoptered it.
Oh God, I didn't think they were going to be able to do as interesting of a season than they did so far. All that being said, I think Texas obviously super disappointing win. Kansas, ooh, that is rough at home too. But I think they bounce back. West Virginia, fundamentally not as good of a team, not as good of athletes. So give me Texas to sort of get a little chip on their shoulder, maybe bounce back. I think Texas has this one outright. So a West Virginia favorite, even at West Virginia. Give me the Horns here. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, off-season wise, we'll just like transition and be a succession podcast. Blake, who do you got?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go West Virginia, and this is a horrible spot because if you're gonna buy in on Texas, now is the time to buy in because they're definitely the more talented team than West Virginia. And West Virginia team has inspired no confidence whatsoever. They'll rattle off a somewhat good win or somewhat good performance, then follow it up like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, which is poor performances. But I felt like Bijan Robinson was the only thing keeping this team together. There's just nothing. I just kind of want to see this whole wagon of Texas just fall apart this year, and I think this would just ultimately doom it. And just looking at the past histories between Texas and West Virginia, like honestly, like Texas obviously recruits the better recruits. They probably should have the better team, but West Virginia plays them close a lot. Like last year, they only lost by 4. The previous year, they only lost by 8. Like they play good. They play good. They play good football against Texas, and I don't understand it. And I feel like West Virginia kind of made it a rivalry at one point. Like they were really big into the horns down and stuff, and so it's just like a weirdly significant game for them. So I'm just gonna roll with them. I pray that West Virginia just blows them out of the water, and it's all over with Texas. That's what I want.
Yeah, Blake, I'm kind of with you here because that weird West Virginia having a rival. Oh, it was a one-sided rivalry. Texas did not care about West Virginia, but West Virginians really don't like Texas at all. Like it is a thing in Morgantown for sure. Everyone hates Texas anyways. They're kind of like the Lakers of the Big 12, but like when the Lakers were, like had Smush Parker as their starting point guard. So my thing is, in a tight game like this, I hate West Virginia this year. I've been dogging them all season long. But at the same time, it's a little different in Morgantown, and I think they'll have that extra edge with that crowd behind them. It's an 11 a.m. game. I don't know if that really changes much with these people. They'll be drinking moonshine starting at 5 a.m. So I'm going to go with the home crowd and West Virginia to get this win. And Texas just keeps tumbling deeper and deeper into the abyss. And we start to wonder, is Sark's seat hot if they lose this? We'll see. We'll see. But anyways, let's move on to teams that actually or one team that matters. The number 9 ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys traveling to Lubbock, who just had the Texas Tech Red Raiders, who just had a massive win over Iowa State, thanks to a 62-yard boot to give them the win. The Pokes favored by 10.5 here, and they have just gone a full 180 since struggling to miss Missouri State and Tulsa, completely unrecognizable since the start of the season. Let me say this. I think OSU's on a mission. I think they're different this year. I think that defense is so incredibly good. They win games. They've given up, I believe, something like 7 or 6 points in the past, like 3 second halves, and that team and that defense that they trotted out was like a third string defense. So OSU's rolling here. And because of that, I think that defense, that grit, that translates on the road, and I think they get a win over Texas Tech. I think they cover easily. This line is just kind of running high off Joey McGuire and that big win over Iowa State, but I don't think Tech's that good. So give me Oklahoma State to get a big cover here. Blake?
Yep, 10.5 points in Lubbock is too many points for me, and I talked about it last week. I said Joey McGuire effect. He's not coaching, but it gives them hope, and they really rallied behind him last week. And doing a little transitive property math, Texas Tech beat Iowa State. Iowa State is OSU's one loss. I think Texas Tech, like Sonny Cumbie, what he's doing there is honestly pretty good for an interim coach. I'll back my boy. As long as TCU doesn't hire him, I will back my boy. So give me Sonny Cumbie and the Red Raiders. If you can kick a 60-plus yard field goal, you're in any game. You are in any game. So give it to me. Give it to me. Give me the points. 10.5 is too juicy.
Okay. Blake going with the Red Raiders. Ty, who do you got?
I can't do a good enough impression, but as the late great Adam Sandler, R.I.P. once said, he's not dead, just hasn't made a good movie since Billy Madison. This is how I win. This is how I separate from Blake and the rest of the group. Slam that OSU over. OSU getting a lot more love than they deserve, I believe, from the CFP. I think they're a good team. I'm not sure that they're a top 10 team. I'm not sure that anyone in the Big 12 is this season, to be fair, just to sort of hedge my statements there. I'm not saying that OU deserves to be and OSU doesn't. But I think Oklahoma State is one of those teams, especially with Mike Gundy, that they get hype and then they ride it. Like, they surf that hype wave. They're not one of those teams I think that buys into to use the Saban, like the rat poison, right? Like a lot of teams get this sort of more respect than they deserve, or a lot of respect, and they buy into it too much and they start to relax. Oklahoma State, outside of a few games that you could argue like the Bedlam, like against OU, and then some other stuff where just certain people have their number, Oklahoma State is generally an overperforming team. So I really like them to go to Amarillo or whatever Texas Tech is located in. I do that bit every time. And I like them to win by at least 2 touchdowns here. So give me OSU minus 10.5. I think they ride the wave, and I think they're going to be undefeated rolling into to game day. ESPN, I know you guys listen, in Stillwater for a night game.
Okay, I like it. Jameson, who you got?
I actually really feel good about this Oklahoma State line, and here's why. I think there's a couple of things that go into this. And the number one is how, even though they played a rough defense in TCU last week, the ability for that team to even put 63 up against anybody in conference play gives me the confidence that they have the ability to score the points, even if Texas Tech gets a couple of touchdowns to still cover this. And secondly, their defense has just been playing stellar. And the third is Donovan Smith had a great game versus Iowa State. His coming out party, his first start, and looked great. But what we've seen a lot just in the history of football is the first game a quarterback comes in, they go off because there's not a lot of tape on them. But if they're flawed and they have certain flaws, a good coaching staff can go and find those flaws and make sure that they don't have that same type of game again. Chandler Morris, that could have happened to him. Think like Mike White with the Jets this season. That's a very classic example. A lot of new quarterbacks get the big bump first game, and then the team comes around and schemes against them. So I really like Oklahoma State here in their defense to scheme around the new quarterback and make him look not as good as he really was versus Iowa State.
Okay, Jameson big on the pokes there. Moving on to this is an interesting line. Number 11 Baylor at K-State, heading to Manhattan. The Bears only favored by 1 point, which is a pick'em in our system. So you can't win by 1, can't lose by 1. If you're a 1 point favorite, because pushes count. Anyways,
You can win by 1.
You can win by 1.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
You win either way.
Yeah.
So, Jameson, are you weirded out by this line? Does Vegas know anything?
Absolutely, I'm weirded out by this line. There's like a lot of the times whenever I'm kind of indecisive on something, I try to look what would make the most sense in the future. And Baylor kicked the field goal at the end, and there's a lot of people talking about it for the hope of a 3-way tie. But in actuality, it doesn't matter anymore. So it's kind of just weird. What is the chance that you see Baylor at the end of this season, pushing in the argument, if one game goes their way with no OSU game, they can make the Big 12 championship. I'm having trouble seeing it, guys. I don't know. I'm going to go Kansas State here. I hate to say it, but I know it's weird to say, but Kansas State and Manhattan's played pretty well this season. And Baylor coming off a big win. We saw how the week before, whenever they're looking big at Oklahoma, they overlooked it and stumbled. And then coming off this big win, they might be looking a little bit too far ahead about scenarios and other teams winning and losing that Kansas State might sneak up and bite them. So I'm going to go K-State.
Okay. Ty?
I really like, I'm going to just bottom line up front. I'm going to disagree with Jameson on the pick, but I really like his reasoning. I like what he laid down. I think it makes a lot of sense. Not to cousin Greg this, but don't want to disagree with anyone, but play my game on behind the scenes. Another great character this season. But yeah, I like, okay, well, I guess, why is this even on the slate, I guess, for the Schooner Pod? Because it's going to be literally a win for everyone, I guess. Isn't it? Because you can't lose it.
Well, I mean,
Nope.
Either
Yeah,
team can
no,
win
that's
by
not how it
either
works.
team.
Yeah, like you
Either team can win by more than one.
It's not.
Well,
No,
no,
coin
that's
flip. Nope.
you completely cousin Greg did.
Never mind.
I was like,
Never mind.
You cousin Greg did so hard, Ty.
I just think I've been thinking a lot, and I think that
I can't believe you came into this pick like I can win either way. Like
no.
like,
I mean, I said bottom line up front. I'm going to go with Baylor here, but I don't disagree with anything that Jameson said. I'll just cut out the bits for time. I like the storyline, right? That Baylor is maybe perhaps a bit overhyped, and I'm not saying that as a sore loser. Just to clarify, I think that OU was very much overhyped going into that Baylor game. Full podcast earlier this week if you guys want to hear more thoughts. But yeah, I think that Baylor has it, and it's not just because Baylor's 11 and K-State is unranked. I understand they're playing at K-State, but I do think Baylor is, I'll cold take myself for my early season picks, but Baylor is turned out to be one of the better teams in the Big 12 for sure. They very much could be the champions if OU really drops at the end of the season. So I like Baylor -1 here. I think it's, if I had to pick outright, which is what this line is, I think Baylor wins it. So give me Baylor -1.
If it is to be said, so it be, so it is.
Oh my goodness.
Blake, who do you got?
I gotta ride with Baylor. I've been the only supporter of them, I feel like, this entire year on the podcast. Last week going on the island. I've been the only supporter, though. I've been the only person that has, like, somewhat believed in this team. And I told y'all last week, I was like, this Baylor team, feisty, Gary Bohannon, which I thought, even though the box score was shit and he was throwing a lot of interceptions and really bad passes, like, what a way that when he realized, like, passing game's not working out, he just ran all over the OU defense. And, like, that's the Gary Bohannon I remember. And he hasn't really been doing that this season just because he's actually been a really good passer, but completely eviscerated that OU defense. I told y'all, and it just made me so happy last week. But Dave Aranda, I think, is a great coach. I don't think he's going to be at Baylor much longer. I think he's either going to have to they're going to have to give him the big boy payday, or they're going to have to, or he's going to leave. But I think he's a great coach. He's done an awesome job. Baylor kind of still in the Big 12 championship race. They need some help, but give me Baylor. I just think more talented, better coached.
Fair enough, and I see that, but I raise you Chris Kleiman, who I think is I think Dave Aranda is a great coach.
Raise? Lower.
I think Chris Kleiman's a better coach than Dave Aranda. He does. I think he
Dude,
does.
what? Okay,
I think he does more with less.
Stop it!
Rings.
Stop it! No,
Rings.
Dave Aranda, without any transfers, took a 2-7 team and now have multiplied their wins by about 3 or 4 times that are competing for the Big 12 championship. Where Chris Kleiman has been a nice fat 6-6, 7-5. Like, that's what he's getting.
It was in a weird COVID year, man. Like, come on. Like,
they're not much better this year. Like, the job that Dave Aranda has done there, they beat y'all last week. They killed y'all.
I'm not saying Dave Aranda's a bad coach.
But
that's
how do you
not
say
what I'm saying at all.
Kleiman's better just because he's at K-State?
They're 7-3.
Yeah, but they're not. They haven't beaten anybody good. They can't beat good teams.
Okay, so they lost OSU, lost to OU, lost to Iowa State. I think they beat Baylor here. All of those games were, Farmageddon.
Chris Kleiman's a better coach.
I think
Who's trying to hire Chris? They're considering Dave Aranda for the USC job, for the LSU job. They're not considering Chris Kleiman. Stop that, buddy. That is a bad take. That is a bad take.
I think it's a sneaky good take. I think he's
No,
sneaky.
it's not sneaky good. You're overthinking.
Chris Kleiman's
It's
kind of
bad.
a weirdo.
Yeah, it's
He's
not
a weirdo, but
like-
I think he's a good coach. I think
stars matter, and he recruits like 2 stars. Like
he's coaching out of Manhattan, Kansas. That's
but you can't get. I know the top classes, but dang, like they were bottom. They were like as low as Kansas. Like
yeah, no, that's what he's only been there 2 years. I'm just
I know,
saying.
so
Like,
is Dave Aranda.
yeah, no, I know. That's different though. Dave Aranda inherited like this team that just went to a Sugar Bowl and a
Yeah, and
a
they
big,
all went to the NFL draft, or they all transferred away, Bobby. That's why
Yeah.
they won 2 games last
Chris
year.
I'm
Chris
not saying he's
Kleiman?
bad.
Chris Kleiman kind of looks like if
It's a bad take, Bobby.
Tony
That is such a
Soprano
bad take.
was English instead of Italian.
Chris Kleiman's a better coach than Dave Aranda. That's a bad take.
Here's the ever since Chris Kleiman urged the media to have more positivity because their players obviously weren't taking it that well. I lost so much respect for him because that was
Bad take.
You guys
fair.
talk
Look.
about coaches being soft during press conferences. Whew.
No, I agree that's soft, but look, I think Kleiman is kind of a good coach. I think he's better than
No,
people think.
see, you always do this, Bobby. We hit you back on your little hot takes, and then
No,
you come
hot
back with
take-
a,
no,
he
I'm
might be better. Like, now you're all indecisive.
I think Aranda's a good coach. I kind of like Kleiman more. He's weird. He's crafty. He gets these upsets like in these situations.
What?
I think this is Kleiman time right here.
I guess
This
we'll
is
have to
Kleiman
talk
time.
about this next.
When
next
he has a
topic.
healthy
It'll be funny.
Skylar Thompson, Kansas State is good. They are like a pretty good team.
You were about to say elite. You were about to say elite.
I wasn't
heard
going to
you
say
stutter in your
elite. They're not
breath.
elite. They're pretty good. And they win games like this. And they're going to win this game.
you just
There's
call
a
it
reason
elite?
this line is Baylor -1. Because Chris Kleiman has weird energy and finds ways to do this. He's perfect for this position in Manhattan, Kansas. I think he's going to build a damn winner in Manhattan.
A winner, you just gotta go. That's what I'm saying. He's a 7-5 coach, Bobby. That's fine.
Kansas
but that's
State
not
is
Dave
the-
Aranda.
Kansas State's like the second or third best program in the Big 12 since it existed. If you look at their records, if you look at what they've won, they've
So
won
you're
Big
saying
12.
they're gonna make a winner out of them, but yet they've been the second or third best team. in
K-State
Big
is the
12?
second or third best team out of OU, Texas.
Look at their sustainability.
But you're saying he's making a winner out of them. They already were a winner.
I think he's going to
This is
keep
not-
it.
It's a flawed-
He's going to
it's a-
keep
So
them
you're
being a
gonna
winner.
keep it
Inherently
there. He's
flawed
gonna
argument.
keep it there. There we go, Bobby.
He's going to keep
There
them
we
there
go.
in Manhattan, Kansas. You have to sustain it. He's only trying to sustain the success of, I don't know, one of the biggest miracle workers in college football history.
Wait, are we talking about Lincoln Riley or are we talking
No, we're talking about Bill Snyder. Rest in peace. Just kidding. He's not dead. No, I think Kleiman's damn good. I think he's going to win like several Big 12 championships once OU leaves.
Oh my God!
I'm saying it.
This is bad, Bobby.
He's
This
a
is
great
not bad.
Several.
Let me write this
Several.
down. I need to write
Several.
I need to
Several
write
Big
this
12
down.
championships. I'm calling it right now.
Woof. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
I
'cause he's
think
probably
we can't
tenured
even
for
go in more
decades.
than that.
Kansas
Let me
State
write-
is. Look, I'm just saying, if he has a tough job. This is one of the toughest jobs in the country. To get people to go to Manhattan, Kansas, and actually win, that's tough. And I
But they
think
were
he's
winning. But they were winning though. It's
Under
tough,
a-
but
un-
they've
under
been
a
the second or
wizard.
third best. Okay,
takes-
so
the second Snyder left the first time with Ron Prince. They were garbage. And then they bring in Kleiman, and they're okay. First year they weren't great because Thompson got hurt. You had to put in horrible Will Howard. But like, if they can keep getting like good quarterbacks like Skylar Thompson, I don't know. I'm just saying
They
I like
get a,
Kleiman a lot.
To
I like-
clarify, they get a Lockett next year.
They get a Lockett next year. I'm telling you, Big 12 championship in 2023, right there. They're gonna get another like.
Let me write this down.
They're gonna get another like Colin Klein type, the second OU
Put it in your
leaves,
calendar,
and just
Blake.
murder all of y'all.
Or I'm just now making a running doc of Bobby's cold takes.
It's
Just
just murder.
So
This is
I actually,
such
you
a
know what? I'm
bad-
going to my calendar app. I'm going to go all the way to 2023.
Look, Kansas State's
2023.
gonna finish ahead of Baylor. Watch.
Wait, you
Because
keep
they're
on
gonna
going
win this
down,
week.
Bobby.
What?
So 2023 Big 12 championship, Kansas State, right?
Yeah, assuming OU's gone.
Okay.
I think they win the first one back. That's how much I believe in Chris Kleiman.
Well, okay, yeah. If we're talking about a scenario where people also bail, like other lifeboats, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know this is a contentious take, but my computer's dying. I gotta scoot real quick. I'll be right back. Just talk some shit on me real quick. This is a YouTube exclusive. I'll be right back.
So I will say I'll take the helm. I have the con, is what the Navy says. I will say I have the best, absolute best. I don't have a line for it yet, but I have the best. His computer actually literally just died.
Oh no, we're still there. We're still there.
But I have the best wild card this week. I doubt that anyone else found this diamond in the rough, and I'm so happy that I did. That's all I've got. So I guess
You're not. Oh, I thought Bobby, that was a bad take. That was bad. Aranda's getting considered for
it.
He tried to
big time.
That was like my what was my other? Thank God that one came up, because what was my bad take that rode for a while? The AR-15 Felipe Franks. Yeah, that was Bobby's in the same situation. He knew from the second he said it. He was like, "Oh no, that was a bad take, but I got to commit."
But it was okay.
He does that, and then you push.
It was trash.
You push him on it, and then he starts being like,
that's
the
point. Yeah, that's the point.
Better. It's like,
because I don't know if he's burned his mulligan, but you got to get like it's like
he
me.
did.
It's like me earlier with the TCU Kansas pick. You know, sometimes you got to game the game. Sometimes you gotta try to get people to commit to things.
Oh no.
Blake, I love the Cowboys. Yeah, his computer did die. I love the Cowboys representation.
Who the hell does a podcast and not bring their laptop charger? My laptop about to die every single time.
Who just doesn't? Yeah.
There it goes.
Bobby, why do you not have your laptop charger already plugged in to begin with?
Oh, it was in the living room, and I was rushing in because I just made a big old pot of chili for football feast. So, yeah. So, what did I miss?
We talked about
how you like to walk the dog back whenever you have a horrible take. And
how did I walk the dog back? I predicted K-State to win the Big 12 in 2023.
You did that at the end to salvage it.
Then you like quadruple down on like a really bad take. It's like it's an art of.
It's not that bad of a take.
It's to push it down the line into the future because you knew the current take was bad. So you say, I'm going to put it in the future. Not have to worry about it now. But the problem is I put an alert in my phone to do on December 1st, 2023. Bobby says, quote, Kansas State in the Big 12 championship.
Kansas State's going to finish third in the Big 12.
Bobby, what are you drinking?
Shiner Holiday Cheer. It's delightful.
Yeah. But what about the point, Bobby? But the thing is, what happens if Kansas State and Baylor ties and point differential comes into play? What about are we gonna study the point differential?
Of course, got to study the point differential for sure. But all right, I think that's enough bad Kansas State takes for an entire show, entire season of the Schooner Pod. Let's get down to the big pick, the one that everyone's clearly excited for, or at least they were in September. Iowa State at Oklahoma. Sooners favored by 4. We got big nude Saturday, and this is going to have to be a big recovery for the Sooners. Vegas clearly does not believe in them, and I don't know if we should at all. But at the same time, it's hard for me to not think that OU bounces back. Iowa State's defense has clearly regressed. Their offense is still a massive concern. The punishing wide receivers, with Xavier Hutchinson, and you got Charlie Kohler as well as a tight end, and everyone's a captain. That's startling, clearly, because they have little C's on their chest. That's very, oh, wow, so many captains.
I will say, Bobby, I wish there was like a whole hour-long podcast I could listen to about this.
Oh, yes. If you wanted to listen to this, I would check it out on the Schooner Pod feed. It's just the one right below this. So make sure to listen to that after you're finished with this. Anyways, look, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think OU gets this win. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be sloppy. I think it's going to be frustrating. But I feel like OU bounces back in these sort of environments, in these sort of tests, and even though I think Iowa State is a very, very good team, and this is going to be a hard game, you shouldn't expect a win. Like you shouldn't come in here expecting an easy win for sure. I'll just say that. I still think OU gets a win and covers the 4 points here. Blake, who do you got?
I'm just fading OU. They play nobody, Paul. They've beaten nobody. They really haven't. When I thought about it, I sat down and watched the nice college football playoff show today. Kind of uneventful, but the one thing I did realize, OU has literally beat nobody this year. And I'm just going to hope that the Iowa State that I knew last year can kind of keep it close. A nice late ass alley field goal to.
I realize Ass Alley is not their kicker anymore, so I said
it
that a
isn't?
couple
No.
episodes ago, and I felt like a dum-dum when I realized he isn't kicking.
Did
I don't
he-
know if he got benched or something, or I
Did
don't
he
know.
graduate and just like not want to play more football, or he's not in
think
the
so.
farm.
he's not in the NFL?
No.
He's
Isn't
clearly
it
not-
Connor?
It's
Connor
like-
Asselli, yeah. He went. It was harvesting
Not
season.
sure if I could
Connor.
Google
He
this.
seems to be still playing there.
I don't know if
think
I've
he
seen
He
got
is.
benched.
He went 4 for 4 this year. He must have.
Jesus.
It's an Ass Alley
Field
tradition
goal.
that you must plow the field, Connor.
His field goal percentage and extra point percentage is never mind. He's on the team this year.
Yeah. And he went 4 for 4. What the heck happened to him?
He's 100%, dude.
But
Absolutely.
he's not playing. But he's
Is
not.
he? Wait, he's
Starting to get
listening
hurt?
to. I don't know. I mean, whatever.
Anyways, Blake, you're fading OU. I don't blame you. Anything else you want to say about that?
Oh no, that's from 2019. No, I just think OU hasn't beaten anybody. There's obviously some turmoil going on in the locker room. We got who's the starting quarterback this week? Who knows? Because Lincoln Riley
Caleb
can't seem to
Williams.
decide.
He already
Yeah, why
announced
is he
it.
pulling him? He had the perfect excuse because I knew all the OU fans last week were going to come into the chat and be like, it's his hand, yada, yada, yada. But then Lincoln Riley put him back in there. And I'm like, now that excuse is gone. Lincoln Riley, we know, kind of some ties to Baton Rouge maybe, kind of causing a little division in the locker room.
Oh, stop!
Oh,
Get out of
Where
here!
are the
Okay.
ties?
Get out of here!
Let's
Can I-
go.
It's all
If
orchestrated.
this happens, so if Lincoln Riley...
Where are the ties? Honestly,
Or-
I want to know where the ties are.
The what?
What is the tie of Lincoln to Baton Rouge?
What are you saying?
It's just speculation.
Okay,
but-
here's the
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
I'm
Can
gonna
I
spe-
come
what
on? Wait,
What if?
can I
what if-
come on the emergency pod though? If Lincoln Riley leaves to LSU, since I'm talking about it now, can I come on the emergency
That's stupid.
podcast?
We will
if it
shut the
happens?
podcast down if that happens.
He could. There's just no legitimate ties to it right now.
No,
If-
I'm just
if
LSU, if
Sources
LSU
are
told
saying-
him-
Sources are saying Justin Fuente to TCU is a lock. That source is also me.
Okay.
So I'm just saying I have a gut feeling.
if LSU told him that he never has to talk to the press ever again, I don't know how you do that. Or maybe LSU promised that they disband their student newspaper if he wins. maybe that would get him. But outside of just saying you never have to do a press appearance, I don't see it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
If he does
Ty,
go, I want to be on. I want to lap up some tears.
You
I
will
wanna
not-
come on here.
we will not
Of course he
intentionally
will.
bring you on here to dance on our graves, Blake. That won't
I
happen.
told you, if that happens, make the deal with me right now. Make
No.
the deal with me.
Why
Why?
would I make that deal with you?
You're-
What do I have
you're
to?
so-
What do I
you
have to
said
gain?
Just because you're so confident in it. I just think it could happen.
But what do I have to gain? Does he just like?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not. It was never
Okay,
in the works.
Then just say I can come on. If it's not gonna happen, then just say I can come on.
But I don't want to.
See, you're all Mr. Confident, and then you won't back
But,
up.
okay, but
Just
like
say-
we have it. Okay,
What do I have to gain?
Your entire thing is based on like sensationalist yellow journalism.
Then tell
and
me I
then-
can come on. Tell me
No,
I can
Okay,
come on.
But, like,
Blake,
we have-
you can come on if
Yeah.
you listen to Boomer Sooner for 6 hours before it.
Oh, okay, I'll do it. Deal.
But like
Deal.
slow.
Yeah, no, I
Boomer Sooner
concur.
for 6 hours,
Yo.
but it's like a slowed down, sad version of Boomer Sooner, like the ESP or the NFL on Fox like injury theme version of Boomer
That's fine.
Sooner.
I will
Just-
do that for 6 hours. I will 100% do that if that.
Right.
if that
Motion to
was the
vote.
case.
I concur.
All right, I think that's
Right.
fair.
Yes.
The motion
yes,
passes.
okay, there we go.
Ty, who do you have for this game?
I like this one. I like this one because OU, obviously we lost last week. Great game to Baylor and their coaches. Iowa State has been very disappointing this season, which goes against my beliefs on this line. And then OU also been very disappointing this season, but we've sort of eked it out in everything but Blake distracted me with a text. Everything but Baylor. But I like this one because I think had we just squeaked by Baylor in one of those basically losses, but we won like we've been doing all season, I think this line would just be ridiculous. So I really like 4 here. It's in Norman. We're coming off a loss. It's our last home game. I think that OU is legitimately the better team. I think we have a lot of issues on defense. We have a lot of issues with sort of offensive schemes and making things click. But I don't think anyone would disagree with me, including Iowa State fans that could be impartial, that OU is fundamentally a better team and a better coach team and should win this game by at least a touchdown, which is 6 points with an extra point. Both of those are more than 4. So give me OU -4 here. We only did like 10 minutes on Iowa State, but we have a whole podcast on it, so to speak. But yeah, give me the Sooners here. I like OU at home, last home game. Iowa State's been disappointing. OU has a storyline to bounce back, hopefully. So
Yeah, one of the 10 minutes was me just insulting Iowa State, so it's pretty great.
Which was great. We needed it.
Lovely. We had to fill our quota. Jameson, who you got?
I'm picking OU, and this is not because of homer takes, or I'm not going to say like I believe in this team. No, it's because of both of these teams are coming off tough losses in their own respect of, context last week. Iowa State's loss essentially just threw them to the dump. They do not have a Big 12 championship possibility now. And that team is, what are they going to be fighting for? There's a lot of seniors on that team that have been playing together for a long time. We've been saying that these guys have been on this team forever. Like, when are they going to leave? What's the point of how much effort are you going to put in if your final, last road is blocked off? So I think that's tough. But in OU's case, obviously there's been a lot of times where we just play down to our opponent. We obviously saw it versus Kansas. We've seen it versus Tulane. We've seen it versus majority of the teams this season. But a loss last week does not take OU's final goal out of statistical chance. We still have a chance to run the table, make it to the Big 12 championship. And if a couple things fall our way with an Oregon loss or a Cincinnati loss, there is chance to get to the goal that they want to and achieve. So it's a little bit more urgent now, and these procrastinators might have even more urgency to do well in this game versus Iowa State, and it being at home is very, very positive. I understand the sentiment of saying OU is just fool's gold, and they'll continue to be fool's gold. But I think there's a lot of effort issues on this team, and hopefully they can come up and play and realize that there's still a chance to get to their final goal on Saturday.
Also, shout out to future head coach Matt Campbell of the TCU Horned Frogs.
Okay.
Really?
It's actually, he's rumored. Like, we've talked with him. We've had talks. So
that is literally that is probably as probable as Lincoln Riley to
You
LSU.
don't want that. You
no,
don't.
it's
you don't
no,
want
Bobby. Bobby, don't. This one's actually like sourced. There's sources that they've
They're
actually
sauces?
Sources.
Yes.
Sources.
This is
The Scooter Pod.
This isn't
Just
me
now.
joking around. This is
Okay,
this is
all right.
sourced material. Because it makes sense. It's like you can only win so
Doesn't
much
make
at
sense.
Iowa State. Yes, it does. Like, your recruiting potential is only so high at Iowa State.
I mean, you're not wrong because Texas
Yep.
is.
It's better at
great for that.
TCU.
Yes,
Yeah,
look
Texas.
at the recruit
Wow.
classes. Like,
Yeah.
we have like the third best recruiting class in the Big 12 usually.
And the
It will
ratio,
probably
of
be
course.
the top one, and then in the new Big 12, we might be 1 or 2 consistently.
Well, I think it's a good spot for. But I don't know. I don't.
I
think
know
leave
you
Iowa
seem
State.
weird about it, but it's like literally just Iowa State. There's not much there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
He's going
Anyways.
somewhere. He's not staying there forever.
He's resisted the swan song at much bigger places than TCU.
The Green Bay Packers.
Anyways, let's move
Who
on.
has Condoleezza Rice?
Oh, God. Let's move on to our favorite pick of the week. It is our wild card, where we pick whichever game we want on the slate.
It's not my favorite.
No, it is not Ty's. He would actually be in the lead if it was not for the wild card. So, Jameson, I'll let you get us started off here. Who are you going to pick?
I've scrolled through all of these teams, hoping something would pop out to me that I would just love. I say like, oh, this actually makes logical sense. I can talk about it. I can actually give an argument for it. There's one game that I've been wanting to pick, but I just don't. I wish there was a half point less. And I like the Bo Nix experience has ended. He's out for the season. And then maybe coming out and throwing some hands for South Carolina. But DraftKings has it at 7.5, and I just don't want to have to deal with a half point loss, and that would just hurt me too much. So I'm going to go with my emotion. And I think I need this. And if it fails me, I move on and I put my head down. But I need this revenge. And that is Utah State playing Wyoming. And I cannot stand you, Wyoming. I cannot stand them. Utah State is a 5-point favorite. I have no analysis for this. I would love to hear Blake's analysis. This is pure emotion. Pure emotion.
I told you, stop messing with Wyoming. The Broncos, the Cowboys are gonna kick you in the face and kick you in the jaw again if you keep messing around with them.
They didn't actually kick me.
They kicked you in the...
Is it in Laramie? No, it isn't.
It's at Utah State.
Utah State's a weird team, though. I've watched them play a little bit. They're, like, very hot and streaky. Like, they will go out, I think, which game was it? It was against North Dakota. They, like, struggled for, like, 3 quarters and then decided to, like, turn on the Jets on them and then put, like, 28 straight points. They're a boomer bust, dude.
They did win by 31 last week for San Jose State, a team that
we
kind of
have already gone over San Jose State.
But they did cover versus Wyoming. They did cover versus Wyoming.
Don't do it. Don't.
I think he did it.
I've already done it. I've already had my mulligan. I told you I don't have any real thing other than emotion here to pick against Wyoming. And if they burn me again, okay, I'll take it, and I'll take it right on the chin with the bucking of the Bronco or the Cowboy right onto the. Why do I say Bronco? Because Boise State. Because the bucking of the Cowboy right in the jaw, and I'll take it. But I want this really bad.
Okay. He is fighting Wyoming once again. Ty, what you got there, buddy?
Yes. Well, for the listeners, our valued, loved listeners who cannot see, I was reading Barron's Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms, which is a great tie-in to not Blake's current employer, but to my pick, which as a learned individual, I would like to take the most learned game of the week that everyone seems to be forgetting, and that is Harvard Yale. And as a college dropout, I haven't even mentioned what I'm gonna pick.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, you have a good point, 'cause it took a long time to even find a line for this. But as a learned,
FCS lines don't come out till like Saturday morning.
I found one. I found a reputable one. As a learned 25-year-old college sophomore at a state school known for football and partying, I am qualified to pick this one. So I currently have it at Harvard, who is 7-2 this season, very much the favorite in this game against Yale, who is 5-4 this season. Harvard currently projected, this could change. We're recording on Tuesday night. So this could change. I have Harvard at -5.5 right now.
Where are you finding this line? Where?
This was on DraftKings. Oh, yeah, definitely on DraftKings.
Oh,
so no, well, there's not a line. Okay,
it's definitely on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Full clarification: there's not a line announced, but there is projected points announced on the betting.
Okay, this is not a line.
That's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Harvard Yale.
No, it is not. There's a difference between projections.
No, we're gonna go ahead and give him the line. It's Harvard Yale. None of us know squat about either of these things. Anyway.
How about this?
You simply take the points how they lie.
Well, I was about to say I have no analysis, but okay. if the book is saying that Harvard is projected 25.5 points, Yale is projected 20, does that not directly translate to a minus 5.5
No,
line?
that's not how line making works.
How does
Let's just
it work,
roll
then?
with it. Let's just roll with it.
Okay. I will issue an addendum that we can, I guess, release on the social medias. All I'm gonna say, you know what? Regardless of the line, no disrespect to a friend of the Schooner Pod, Yale alumni. I only took Latin for a couple years. Give me Harvard to win this one. Give me Harvard to take the cover. I think I did look up a few highlights here and there before. Harvard does seem to be a markedly better team. So I like them at sort of anything south of like 21. I think Harvard takes the cover. The game is at Yale, but give me the big red H here over the blue Y. Not BYU. Very confusing logos. I always get confused. Many people are saying it's very confusing that BYU should change. Many people are saying that BYU should release their emails.
Oh my
and
God.
where BYU's emails.
Maybe this is the politics that they're talking about. I don't know.
Give me Harvard
Okay.
minus 5.5, but just for the pod, I guess if they don't release lines, give me Harvard up to minus 14, and then we'll flip it.
Okay, so Ty goes with Harvard minus basically anything
Anywhere
up,
between
plus
minus 0 and minus 14, give me Harvard.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, Blake, who do you got?
I gotta go back to the well because I hate the team that they're going against. Give me UNLV plus, I think it's like 11, 11.5, 10. It's somewhere within there. Whatever DraftKings has it as against San Diego State. Those frauds, they barely been escaping games all season. They have no right to be in the Mountain West Conference Championship. But what sucks, we have two of the people's favorites. We got Nevada, we got Fresno State that's going to get left out because these bums have barely been skirting by. They had one win. They beat Utah, but it was Charlie Brewer, Utah, and he had gotten benched that game. They were in complete distress. That's their only win. This team's bums. They can't stop the run. The one thing UNLV does do, I can't say well because UNLV doesn't do things well, but the one thing they do is they run the ball. They only threw it 25 times last game, ended up in 2 interceptions. That's not good. But their running back, Charles Williams, got 38 carries for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. The man is a monster because that's all they can do is run. So run it down their throats. Screw San Diego State in their top 20 ranking. That makes no sense compared to a Houston team that is far more deserving over this bum team. They're full of bums. I hate Brady Hoke. I hate the Aztecs. Get them off, get them out of my life. Maybe lose the final few games so we can see a Fresno State and Nevada, a deserving champion in the Mountain West Conference Championship. Give me UNLV, the Running Rebs.
No bias, no vested interest, of course, in that pick.
Nope.
Yeah, UNLV. That will be plus 10.5 for the Running Rebs.
Perfect.
So, cool. All right, I'm gonna go with one, and I think this is kind of a popular pick around a lot of people. I'm fading the hell out of Cincinnati. SMU, they struggled a couple weeks ago with their back-to-back losses, but plus 10.5 here. I don't know. I kind of like that line. Cincy beat a very bad USF team to bounce back, I guess. I don't know. The only thing they did was piss off a lot of people who just wanted to watch USA Mexico in the World Cup qualifier. That's all I really gleaned from that game. So give me SMU, give me the ponies to just go straight into Nippert Stadium, kick the Bearcat in the jaw, and get this just annoying Cinderella story out of my sight because Cincy is they ain't the one.
I love that one. Speaking of Nippert, what is the lump on the Horned Frog?
Okay. Anyways, guys, great slate, great times. This was one of the more fun times I've had on a Schooner Pod for sure.
No, it wasn't. Greg.
had a blast on this weekend spread. So, any final words, Blake? I'll let you go, and we'll just kind of counterclockwise it.
Yeah, all this episode taught me is I need to start logging some people's bad takes, and Bobby gave me a nice litany of them, so gotta
What
go
about the
put in the
AR-15
morning.
is a good quarterback? We should have logged that one.
No, yeah, good one. I need
Who
to.
had that one?
I
don't know.
No,
Who?
No, I
a
did
good
not. No, I
quarterback.
did not.
A good
oh, good.
quarterback.
He's gonna be good. I'm like that's still up for debate. Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I need to check
Alright.
my air conditioner. It's getting cold in here. Maybe it's just Blake's takes.
You're gonna be crying whenever he takes the Heisman away from Caleb Williams next year.
What a great comeback. Ooh.
What?
It would-
Just
I
a sick
know.
burn. It was such a great
It's not even a
comeback.
burn. It's just gonna be facts. Like I think he's probably gonna transfer, go to somewhere better. At least we know whatever coach he's probably gonna go to is not gonna bench him randomly in the middle of the biggest game of the season. But that's
Jameson has pulled his
You're
snowball.
talking about Dan Mullen.
Jameson has
versus-
something to say.
Oh, Jameson has the speaking snowball.
I have nothing to say. I was just wanting to hold it like Dirk Nowitzki does.
Well, that was actually some really good sound quality, actually. So,
All right.
Thank
yeah,
you, thank
need
you.
to
Pristine.
hold it there for the whole pod.
Well, folks, it's
Wait,
been
I
about
didn't get my closing.
Okay, go for it. Get your closing. Go for it.
I had something. Oh yeah, I love Bobby's pick. Fade Cincy. Cincy is a fraud. They're literally just Houston of the North, commuter school that wears red. That's garbage.
Okay.
You know what? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I sincerely do hope Cincy makes it to the playoff, so I
you don't. You're blue
I
blood.
can land a Georgia minus 54 line against them.
Oh my God. All right, folks. Thank you all so much for listening to another week of the Weekend Spread. This has been a epic with a lot of fun little issues, from Blake's fire alarm to Rosie to my computer literally dying midstream. So thank you all for your patience, and we'll try to do better next week. So for me, Jameson, Ty, and Bowden Blake, this has been the Weekend Spread. We'll catch you next week. Good luck out there and happy picking.